Welcome back to the Make a Baby podcast. I'm Carolina Sotomayor, your podcast host and Reiki womb healer. Today, I have something exciting to share with you. I know, drum roll. I am going to be a guest speaker at the Pregnancy Revolution with my new bestie. Everyone meet Stephanie Wilson. Hi, Stephanie. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm so excited. You are literally. I've made you my new bestie, whether you like it or not. I'm actually kidnapping you. Claimed
so Stephanie sent me the most amazing message through my website, and we did a meet and greet call to see if we were a good match. And as soon as we met, as soon as you spoke, I was like, I love you. So you're going to come here and you're going to share everyone your story and what this is and all the juicy details. Because the first detail I want to share with you, it's free. You need to know that. So what is the Healthy Pregnancy Revolution, Stephanie?
The Healthy Pregnancy Revolution begins July 1st and runs for 21 days. We're actually up to 40 speakers. It has doubled. We have so many juicy things to share with everyone, from, what you're sharing with the Reiki to nutrition experts, you name it. We've got a dentist speaking on the effects of your oral health on your pregnancy and fertility, and just every person and every profession that could be speaking about how we can improve our fertility, how we can make our baby, our bod pods, the best home for a baby to live in for 9 months, and give them the best DNA possible for them to start their lives as healthy as they can.
Amazing. And this is going to be virtual, so people can attend for free. And can you tell us why you created this revolution?
Yes. I personally feel like we could change the entire health of the next generation if we, women right now at fertility age, would focus more on our health and be aware of all of the environmental toxins, all of the toxins we're literally putting in our mouth, everything that we're doing to our bodies. This is changing the next generation. Like every generation that goes by, why are we getting sicker and sicker? We have these amazing advancements in technology and in sick care, and we can heal things. That's great. But why do we need to get sick, right? Like, let's like prevent all of the complications that kids are being born with, and the rises and rates of things they're being diagnosed with at a very young age. I feel like could really be reversed if we were passing on DNA that's not fractured. And I know there's an extent of it that we can't control. The world's getting more toxic. There's things around us that are out of our control, but that's even more the reason we should control it as much as we can, is because of the overload of it. Like, let's just lessen the load. Like, I've tried all of the natural beauty brands. They don't work. I have NARS everything, right? Like, I pick and choose. I understand that. Exactly, right?
NARS lipstick.
Listen, but I also go in the grocery store and I won't choose, and I will opt out of the apple if it's not organic, because I know how heavily that's sprayed with chemicals and pesticides that they're not even allowed in other countries. And yet we're eating the food that's got it all over, and it gets soaked into it. It's not about washing it off, right? Like, it's in that apple. So I will leave the non-organic apple, but I still want, so, we pick and choose. We just need to be aware of our toxic load and how we could lessen that if we just look at the different areas and where it's coming. It's coming at us from every which direction. Actually, I say, look at the different areas, look at what's important to you.
I love that. So, like, do what you can.
Do what you can.
Do what you can.
And I want there's some people that struggle with fertility, and that's one path, and that's one conversation to have. And then there's other people that like just get pregnant and they have no thought behind it, and they were drinking for the 6 weeks before they realized they were pregnant. So it's two different conversations, kind of. I hate seeing that. I had a lot of friends that was happening to, and I'm like, this is really terrible. Like, that first week, those first days are so detrimental, so important. I shouldn't say detrimental if you are doing detrimental things. So vital to a baby's development, and it could make or break how their brain's developing, the neurological, like, things are happening in those first few days before we even know we're pregnant. You've got to already have the practices in place. You're already doing the things. So when you don't know you're pregnant, you're still doing all the right things. You're still protecting baby's neural development. You're still doing all the healthy things you should be doing, versus you accidentally got pregnant. And I know, someone's going to say they had a baby and they were drinking and they didn't know it for a few months. I know, I get it. But you don't realize how much that now that baby may have health issues down the road because we're seeing it, right? So what's the answer? Like, we all have our argument of like, what's causing all of these issues? I just feel like we are introducing more and more toxins into the environment. Do we not see that maybe there's a connection, a correlation here? If we were
I
more
think it's also,
intentional.
I think it's about exposure too. There's a lot of people who may, they're like, these are kind of topics or maybe conversations they've never been exposed to. Like, people may not be like aware of it. I'm aware of like perfumes and how those can really influence and disrupt your hormones. When I mentioned that one of my clients, and she's like, I have to have perfume, I have to smell good. I was like, well, there's all alternatives, but this is like the art of fragrances really is looting your environment, your clothes. I said that heavily has an impact on your health and your hormones, and that's an easy fix. Like, we can easily fix that. You don't need like fabric softener. You can use vinegar, and I promise it's not going to smell bad. You like, those are like little things when we compare it to like, okay, so when we had that hard conversation, I was like, but you want a baby. Do you want to smell better than when you want to have a baby? I was like, this is really cornerstone because her hormones were already in balance. And it was something that we were actively working on, and she was working on with her doctor. It was like, and then she went and she did her own changes, and she ended up detoxing and eliminating artificial fragrances in her home. They're everywhere. And that's like a small aspect of this, but it can be a huge change. And she had no one in her life had ever had that conversation with her.
What something else I want to spin off on that is kind of a fragrance thing, but it goes deeper, is deodorants. I know it's not necessarily the fragrance item you want to look out for, is the aluminum. And I know I spent like a decade, I would try a all natural deodorant. And I'm like, I'm smelly. I don't like this. I have to have my secret aluminum deodorant. It took me so long. And I finally just bit the bullet and I went through the stinky phase, I guess. I don't know. I have my, what is
Did
really
you do
good
an armpit paste?
So yeah, I've had those charcoal pastes. I have done some of those. But
I saw it
I
on
would say they
TikTok.
like really worked. I'm not sure. What worked for me, I feel like, was literally just time. And what I found were these essential oil. I don't know if they're armpit wipes or just like feminine wipes, but essential oil wipes. And I would do that like midday. I just got used to the fact that I'm like, I just need a refresh. I need to clean. But I'm telling you, it was actually like so much of the damage is done. Like, for me, I grew up on probably the worst standard American diet. Like, fruits and veggies were like once a week out of a can for me. Like, I did not grow up eating healthy.
Yeah.
At all. Right. Like, it was boxed to everything.
We went to the food bank, so it was whatever like was boxed, it was or
pantry
canned.
food. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, same. And I just feel like by the time I was aware that, and not just, I actually became aware. And I'll get into my story here. I became aware because I had so many health issues at like 19 years old. I'm just, I want to know this story.
Let's do it. I want to know everything. Yeah, because I think it's a cornerstone of like why you do everything you do. I find that people who do major big things in the world, it's a result and a direct response to healing something that was really painful. So what is your story?
Yeah, all the things were painful. I mean, on the deodorant note, I was like, I remember I would sweat through. Like, I got to a point, I started getting I don't remember what it's called. I don't want to say, is it prescription strength? But it was like extra strength at Secret. And it was just like the norm for me. And I was so sweaty all the time. And I'm like, what? I didn't stink because it all smelled great. But that was a huge issue for me. And in hindsight, I think it had a lot to do with the processed diet I had. It was just like inflammation constantly. It was just, I don't know. I had activated sweat glands that I don't have now. Like, it's amazing how like I can use these natural deodorants and I'm not sweating and I'm not stinking, but it took, like, I'm not going to lie to you, it took like a good year of that whole routine. It sounds so corny, but I want to share it. Like, you got to just get used to like the midday, like use the essential oil wipes and then put the natural deodorant back on. And over time, like, your body's not going to sweat as much and it's not going to stink as much. And you don't need to do that anymore.
I discovered a lady, she had a cookbook called Instant Loss, and she lost over 100 pounds using her Instapot. So I
Oh
started
my
following her
gosh.
blog, and
Yeah.
that was like the beginning of my clean eating journey.
Yeah.
And my husband had to be on a low FODMAP diet. So I was like navigating a lot of things. And I started following her blog, and I started following her on Facebook, and I joined her Facebook group, and I bought the Instapot. And she said that she stopped using deodorant, but she had to detox her body. And it was the same thing you're saying. When she stopped eating so much processed food, she started smelling better. She
Yeah.
actually uses vodka in a spray bottle as deodorant. And I was like,
I've
and she,
never heard that. That's so interesting.
so,
Vodka in a spray bottle. That's
and
amazing.
she goes and buys it at Costco. And
That's so
she would do
funny.
vlogs, and she would go to Costco, and she's like, this is everything I'm buying. I bought all her cookbooks. And I'm a huge, I think she's pretty great. I forget her
Yeah.
name. I'm a huge fan, but I don't know her name. But I have her cookbooks and an Instapot because of her.
You'll
Anyway,
think the second we get off here, you'll be like, it was Diana Jones. I
but
know.
her brand is called Instant Loss.
Oh, that's cool.
But that was the first time that I learned anything about deodorant. That was the first time, even though I had started I'm not crunchy anymore. I'm mindful is what I like to say, but I was when Ollie came out of me, I became very crunchy.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I heard that deodorant was bad. So yeah, it's different. I have to say,
Well,
I did the
mine
whole
was this.
journey, but I'm now back to, I actually saw a TikToker. I wear the bad deodorant because that's just where I'm at. I was like, no. I
It's
breastfed for
okay.
4
I got
years.
my
So
NARS.
I breastfed
Did
for
you say
4
you
years.
breastfed for 4 years?
Yes. So
5, girl. Oh my gosh, I'm with you. Yes.
So I know that there's a certain breast, like with the deodorant, there's like a breast cancer
Yeah.
number percentage, but I'm like, the lady who helped me breastfeed and my postpartum support, and who's now my best friend, Rachel, she's like, you breastfed enough, you're gonna be fine.
You have that like cancer protection. We're laughing about it, but it's a real thing. Like the longer you breastfeed, you have like breast cancer protection.
Yeah, I was like, and then I saw a TikToker talk about how she likes the way that men deodorant smells, and I was like, and that it's
I
just
don't.
different. So I bought men's deodorant
Oh, that's
recently,
so funny.
and I'm wearing it, and my husband's like, that's men's degree. And I was like, I know, it smells so good. So either though, yeah. So like I like this conversation because yes, is there a lot of things that could scare you and that could be affecting your fertility and your pregnancy and to detoxing your body? Yes, but it's all in like what you can do and what you choose to do.
Yeah.
And also everything in moderation. When I was postpartum, I became obsessed. And like I
Yeah.
even bought like healthy, like plant-based detergent, and like everything had to be natural. And now I'm just like, we use Costco Tide. So like it's your choice, and
Yes.
like you'll find your balance. Yes, I use aluminum deodorant, and that's my choice. But
Yeah.
we eat organic fruit as much as we can. So you choose. I think that's a very important point to drive home. Do what you can
Do what
on
you
the
can.
things that you want to move the needle on
But
in
do
your
something.
life.
You need
Do
to be
something.
intentional to like choose what's important. Yeah. I definitely am on that. And I'm going to contradict you now because I'm not in moderation. So I have this similar story to the Insta loss girl. And maybe I'm not giving
you can go the full way, but for me, I couldn't maintain it because I was like, for us, I have to maintain all of those choices.
Yes,
so my husband would just
as a
go
woman,
along
you're
with
carrying
it.
that.
Yeah.
You really are carrying that for your household. You are oftentimes. You've got to wear all the hats, right? We wearing all the hats. But yeah, mine is a very similar story to what her experience. So I had all kinds of issues. It was a lot of like abdominal things that were coming up. I would just be in pain and aches and pains, and goodness, like I just felt like left and right, I was going to the different doctor for different things, and they're diagnosing me with all of the things that were like, we don't really know the answer, like IBS, right? That's irritable bowel. That is like, we don't know what's wrong with you. Your bowel is irritable. I'm like, yeah, I know my abdominal area doesn't feel good. And then I go to the OB because I'm like, I don't know. For a girl, you're like, is it my gut or is it is it uterus related? And then I have endometriosis from them because endometriosis can't really be identified unless they go inside of you. And he's like, but it's endometriosis because we really are ruling everything else out. So I just felt like, what on earth is going on? I finally decided, actually, it started with watching Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. It's a documentary I'd recommend to everyone. it started me down this path of he went on a juice cleanse, and he had all these medications. He went down that path where everyone was giving me the medications. I was slightly crunchy, I suppose, or I don't know. I told you I grew up eating those box foods, but I was crunchy enough. I'm like, I don't feel like I need to start taking medications at 19 years old or something. So I went down this path and decided I'm doing a juice cleanse. And that was an interesting, first time was interesting. It's an experiment. It's an experience. But I went on years of, I lost over 80 pounds as well. And I healed myself of any and every symptom. I should have had them pulled up. I actually don't have, I have a note here of saying all the things that I had at that time and had been diagnosed with from one doctor to another. It's so silly, right? I know we probably all have some experience of that or similar, that we go to these doctors and they tell us what's wrong with us. But honestly, it's so much of how we're treating our bodies in America, right? It's very typical. I wasn't doing anything out of the norm. Honestly, I was probably healthier than all my other friends and what they were doing. And everyone's bodies respond differently, right? I may have had a weakness in that area, but juicing really turned my health around. I then, let's see the timeline here. How I say, I don't, at that time, that was just healing issues and healing. That was when I was younger. I definitely, the same as you, it's hard to maintain, right? Like I didn't maintain juicing forever, but I was the highs and lows of it. I went through my 20s and working, and I don't remember, I was still eating very healthy. But when I got married in my late 20s, I actually had 2 miscarriages, and I immediately went back to like my foundations of juicing. I felt like this is going to heal it. This is going.
I'm so sorry you went through that.
It is. It's a lot. I know I just run over it, but yeah, I have my beautiful little girl now, and you heal from it. And I've done so much healing from it. But at the time, it is awful experience. Yeah, absolutely. And I just decided I was going to take measures into my own hands. And I thought I absolutely could turn this around. So I had come up with my own herbal, massages and things I was doing, the specific herbs I was taking. And juicing. I incorporated juicing, was the foundation of it for me. I incorporated juicing, and I got pregnant. I don't remember exactly the timeline, I'm not going to lie, but somewhere in that time I got pregnant. And then my best friend was pregnant alongside me, and she was having all these like ails and ailments and all the typical things of pregnancy. And I was drinking my green juice throughout, which they actually say you're not supposed to because it's not pasteurized. I was making it at home, but I was trying to get her to take this. She's like, I'm having heartburn, I'm having this. Like, I swear, I hate to be that person that's like, it was perfect, but my pregnancy was just so blissful. It was amazing. It was an incredible experience.
And you think it's because of the juicing that helps you?
I contributed all to the juicing. The juice is just like saturates your cells, and you feel juicy and healthy and just like, we are made up of water content, right? Like so much water content. What is it, like 80%? Like, I feel like we need that. Like, keeps things flowing.
Can I ask you a couple questions about juicing? Because I literally have never done juicing. And I don't know anyone, no one in my world does juicing. They do crock pots. So is there like a juicing machine, or do you use a blender? And then like, do you do like a muslin cloth and like strain it, or how do you make the juice in your home?
Because that's the number one question I get.
How do you do it?
You are on base with what everyone always asks. The answer is you can do both. I have a juicer. There is an actual juicing machine that's different from a blender.
Okay.
But there are people who say, hey, I don't want to buy a juicer. And they can be as inexpensive as $60 or $70. I think Walmart has some for that price. They're all that's a whole nother, girl, we need to have a whole juicing tutorial conversation for sure. No, there's a bunch of different types, centrifugal and the masticating, there's different ones. So there's a reason for the different prices. It's not just that one's $300 and one's $60. There's different things and, pros and cons to that. So I just want you to jump on there and think, why are these all over the place? Because people do ask, that's the next question then, is why do I need a $300 one if there's a $60 one? You can start with the $60 one. It's amazing, right? Just get into juicing. But also, if you have a blender and you say, I just want to test this, it's more work. It's absolutely more work. But you could blend what you're making up in the blender. And like you said, use the cheesecloth, and then strain out. It's just going to take longer and more. Yeah, absolutely. You literally can. I've done it. No, for sure.
So you just you use the cloth to get out the pulp and just get out the juice.
Yep.
What do you do with the pulp?
You just want the juice. There's a lot of cool recipes that I don't do, but there are some people have cookbooks just on using juice pulp and making the things you
Got
can
it.
make, and crackers and breads.
What
and
is
I-
like I guess you probably would people would juice based upon ailments and things that they're trying to heal in their individual journey. Is there a particular juice that's very juicing recipe or what they would use to be very beginner friendly?
Yes, absolutely. I know we've probably all heard about the celery. There's nothing that's going to be health benefits of celery over something else. It is just a like gateway, right? It's just easy. It's light in flavor. It's not going to be overwhelming to someone being like, oh, this tastes like grass. Celery juice is very light. And also, I would add to that is apple juice. If you ever make your own apple juice fresh, you could never buy apple juice in the store again. Like, it tastes so amazing. Oh my gosh, the taste of apples is so fresh with like a little lime. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you'd love it.
How long does it take to like how many apples does it take to make some apple juice? Like, do you need like a whole
That's a really
bushel?
good question.
Like if you wanted a
I'd
glass,
say like a glass, probably like 7. That'd probably be a full glass. I juice so much. I juice in like batches. So that's a really good question. I don't know exactly like
so how
juicing
long
a glass.
if you do a batch of something, how long does it keep for?
Yeah.
Or do you freeze it?
2 to 3 days. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just play. It takes me about an hour, and I will do it every one day, and then on the third day I'll usually do it again, and it takes me an hour, of doing all the things, getting the juicer out, running it through the juicer, put it in bottles, cleaning the juicer. It's roughly an hour.
Okay. And do you like okay, I guess like people probably start with like celery as one thing, but then you probably go on to juice like maybe combinations of things.
Yeah, so my absolute favorite, and it depends. Girl, I could talk about this all day.
That's why you're here.
Makes me
We've
so
never
excited.
talked to anyone who does juicing. I guarantee you there's a lot of people that have never heard it. There are juice places here in Omaha. There's like whole juice bars. In Miami, you're going to love this. Okay, there in Spanish, there's a place that we used to grow up, and it's probably not healthy, but is in Miami. It's called El Palacio de los Jugos. It's the Palace of Juices. And in Latin America, maybe you don't know this, I can talk about this for days, is that if there is something that can be juiced, we are juicing it. If there is a bark,
that's amazing.
If there is a berry, they're juicing it
Yeah.
and they're adding a ton of sugar to it or without sugar. So like,
yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about now. You go get like a papaya drink at a Mexican restaurant. It's just like sugar and then papaya. I know.
In Spanish, there's this juice that I really love. It can be it could be tart. It's called maracuya. It's passion fruit juice. The best, I don't know. And then my dad was from Ecuador. So we've gone there and the juices have way less sugar. So I didn't like any of them. But it's very prominent part of their culture. My family drinks a lot of juice, but and I know when I went to visit, the juice was always fresh, but I never paid attention to how it was prepared or anything like that. So like now you're bringing back memories for me. So I'm like, as a Latina, I'm like, wait a minute. Whenever we go to Miami, one of the places we always hit up is El Palacio de los Jugos, which is the Palace of Juices, but it's not the same juice as yours.
You know what, though? Miami is one of the best places I have found. A lot of Florida has fresh juice places. You just found the one that's not actually healthy juice.
I bet you they have healthy juice. I just get the one that is probably not healthy. They also have churros and they have chicharrón.
That's funny.
Chicharrón is like fried pork grinds. But
yep, different kind of juice bar.
It's a Cuban one.
I love those Cuban
one. Like there is a brand new place that opened near my house here in Nebraska that does cold pressed juices. Are those okay to drink?
That's what you want. Oh. Yep, that's what you want.
Okay.
Yep, that's it. Absolutely. Cold pressed juices. Yep.
So they're bottled and they have like different ones. And then they even have like protocols you can follow and can buy like a whole series and stuff. Juicing doesn't replace meals, right? Or does it?
You could be either way. At the time when I was in this period, I would say I was preparing for pregnancy. I was juicing most of the day. So it probably would have replaced breakfast for me. But then I was still having a large, primarily veggies. salmon and fishes and chicken still. I would be juicing. I did juice till like noon, I would say, but you can do it either way. You know, for people who say, I can't give up my coffee. So I've worked a lot with women around the weight loss piece. That's something that I have the most experience in, and doing juice detoxes and cleanses
because you're a
for
health
weight loss
coach.
purposes.
What is your
Yeah.
occupation? Like, let's start there too. Like, because you're a legit human.
So my background was I went through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition about 7 years ago. And yeah, I immediately just jumped into, I'm passionate about juicing for weight loss. Like, that is really where my key niche is. And I had so many women that were coming to me saying, who had been clients of mine, that they got pregnant and then they decided, what do I need to do? I want to detox. And I'm like, this isn't the right time. Like, you need to go through all of these protocols and detoxing and getting healthy prior to getting pregnant. There's still things you can do to stay healthy through pregnancy, of course, but you don't want to change up your diet all of a sudden. You don't want to make drastic changes. You don't want to be detoxing in any way. So that's my background. And the Healthy Pregnancy Revolution, the summit, it's for those women that I was working with that are saying, you know, they're wanting to know what they need to be doing now. I think the message just needs to get out. I want to share it with everyone, that women who, even if you think you're not going to get pregnant for the next year, let's start thinking about it now. Let's start having a conversation. Do you want to lose 10 pounds before you're going to have that baby? Because you know you're gaining baby weight. Do you need to? Is it going to be healthier for you? Is it going to be a healthier experience for you going through pregnancy? Is it for a health reason? There's so much that juicing just gives our bodies. If you are taking a break from food,
menstrual health,
for period health, it so regulates your period. It really does. And it takes, in one way, it takes the burden off. If you are replacing a meal, it takes that burden of metabolizing food all day. Like, sometimes we're eating too much. I'm not a proponent of the like meal and then snack, an hour later and meal and snack. I'm not that proponent. I'm not like pushing that. I think we need to give our metabolism a minute to rest sometimes, our whole digestive system. And when your digestive system is resting, that's when your body's like, okay, hey, there's something else somewhere else we can go heal. There's a scar from when you were 10 years old. Let's go like work on that scar, and it'll heal old scar tissue. It'll heal something that you may not even know is coming up in the body yet, but it'll say, hey, we have the energy to do that now. When we're eating all day long, our energy is going to the digesting food. That's the first thing, is our body's got food. It's got to digest and break down food all day long. So
there's healing in the pause. Literally, there is so much that you can do with that healing with a pause. When you're go all the time and you're so busy with your schedule, you don't have time for rest. You don't have time for reflection. You don't have time for the pause that you need for healing, especially from the emotional, energetic, mental, and spiritual side. But then again, you're saying this for the the mechanics of your digestive system. That makes so much sense. You just blew my mind. Where can people find you, and how can they sign up for the summit or the Revolution Summit?
It's healthypregnancyrevolution.com, and also on Instagram, Healthy Pregnancy Revolution, and we'll be sharing all the details coming up here soon.
We'll link it in the show notes. I am so grateful for you sharing space with me here and just creating such an amazing event for women to be transformed by. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Friends, I want you to go to the show notes. You're going to sign up. You're going to come hang out with me, healthypregnancyrevolution.com. You're also going to go ahead and see in the show notes, you get 3 free days inside the Make a Baby membership. If you want to connect with me, you can also book a clarity call to see what next steps are best for you in your fertility journey with Reiki. Until next time, my friends, let the Reiki flow. Frustrated being told you are fine by your doctor, exhausted from negative pregnancy tests every month, wanting a deeper connection on your fertility journey with your spirit baby? The Make a Baby membership is exactly what you need. Using Reiki will help you connect to your spirit baby, heal the trapped emotions blocking fertility, and support you in our life-changing community. With over 90 Reiki babies, we invite you to try the Make a Baby membership for free. Check it out in the show notes. Let's get you pregnant.